back on the easy access roof. So my friends, I've got this installation here running for a couple of days now, and I gained some very interesting data from just this one panel here connected to our micro inverter in comparison to the other panels which are connected to the same micro inverter. Each of the panels have their own micro inverter. It's a 4-in-1 micro inverter. Well, first of all, welcome back to you to the off-grid garage in not so sunny Australia. Fireplace is going inside. We are in the middle of winter, and this is exactly the reason why we are building this construct here on the house. First of all, thank you very much for hundreds of, how many? 233 comments on the last video. Thank you very much. Very good ideas, very good comments, very good suggestions how to proceed, how to further install these solar panels here on the house. And I want to pick up on some of these ideas because I think it's worth exploring a bit in this direction, especially considering the angle and shading this construct makes on the second row then here. But before we start with that, I just want to explain again why we are doing this here. So as you know, we've got Andy's garage there, we've got Andy's carport and Andy's big shed over there. All these roofs are covered with solar, 14.4 kilowatt of solar. This is absolutely fantastic and great working, and makes me enough energy for 3/4 of the year. And we are not talking about these seasons, spring, summer, autumn, because then this system alone is enough to cover everything. I don't need the solar on top of the house. I don't need these solar panels here. I wouldn't need any other solar panels there. All this installation is totally fine in these 3 seasons. The only reason we are looking into other options like this is to cover our winter. And mostly our winter weather is pure sunshine. Pure sunshine during the day, cold nights up to +5 degrees Celsius. I know, right? This doesn't sound too cold, but once you are acclimatized, 5 degrees is very cold. So this is our winter. This mush weather, what we have right now, is very unusual for winter. We've got this maybe 1 or 2 days a month. That's it. Tomorrow and the next couple of days will be pure sunshine again. Yeah, you can see it. Sunshine, 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 sunshine. And today it's a bit of mixed weather, clouds and sun. 23 though. Yeah, someone recently left a comment under my videos and said, our winter here is as good as the summer in Finland. That might be true actually. But no, so these panels here are only to cover my winter need of energy. And this is the reason why I need to optimize the production of these panels. And my opinion is always, well, if your house roof points to the east or west, like my one here, you just put more panels on your roof if you have the space. Put more panels on the roof to compensate for the wrong direction you have, basically. And this is exactly what I have done here on Andy's garage and the carport and the big shed. I covered everything with solar panels. I just compensate for the bad orientation of the east and west roof we have there. And some of you have exactly said this under the last video. Andy, why don't you install just more panels and put them flat on the roof? You don't have any problems with wind loads, no angle, no brackets, no work. Just put them flat on the roof and use more solar panels to compensate. Well, usually yes, 100%. But in this case, I cannot do this because the micro inverter has only 4 inputs. And I can only install panels with a maximum of 600 watts. I cannot overpanel this inverter. But in the specifications, it gives me very strict numbers for the voltage, for the maximum input voltage and maximum current we can use with each of these 4 microinverters inside this main case. So, and I don't think we can overpanel this inverter. Well, just for an example, the Fronius inverter I have recently installed here for my house solar is a 5 kilowatt inverter, but I can connect 7.5 kilowatt of solar panels to it. So I can overpanel it by 50%. This one is a 2 kilowatt micro inverter, and the maximum peak output is only 2.2 kilowatts, so 10%. And overpaneling your inverter by 10% doesn't compensate for bad orientation, especially not in winter time. So, very long story short, but this just for an explanation, because some people may not have understood what I'm actually trying to do here. I cannot lower the angle of these panels here because the efficiency then would get very bad. And we have seen this when I set up this panel here and lifted it up. We had twice the power output than if I would put it down again on this 30-degree angle now. So lifting it up towards the sun, twice the power output. Some other people have suggested, Andy, why don't you lay these panels horizontally and have 4 rows of panels then? And this is actually a pretty good idea for several reasons, because then I can have them on a steeper angle, which gives me more power output per panel. And also some people said the wind force is then less than if I would put them like this. I'm not an expert in this. I don't know anything about wind force at all, but from a pure logic understanding is, well, we've got the same area we have against the wind. If it's vertical or horizontal, it wouldn't make a difference. But this is just my simple understanding of the physics then. And someone actually, I liked this idea very much at the beginning. Someone said, why don't you put all these panels in one area on one tilt? So having 2 panels next to each other and the other ones on top of these ones further this way. So you would have one big slope of 4 panels then. So we would then need another extension bracket further this way, which is twice the height as this one, to cover the other panels. And then we've got 4 panels in one big slope. There would be no shading problem, right? But it is a huge construct. It doesn't look very pretty, and it is also, from a wind force perspective, probably not ideal. I really like the idea to have 4 rows of horizontally lined up panels, so we don't have the depth and we don't have the larger shadows. And I could also potentially tilt them in a higher angle towards the sun to optimize the power output. So again, these panels, these 4 panels here, which will be on the roof at some stage, will only be here for winter time, for these 3 months of winter time, if it is sunny. For cloudy weather like this one today, I don't need these 4 panels, because the Andy Garage installation is enough to cover everything. This morning I have seen 4.5 kilowatt coming from this system, and it was raining. Now the sun is peeking out here and there a bit, but at the moment I'm making 2.5. Can you see that? Yeah, 2.4 kilowatt just from the roof space on the garage. And these 4 panels here are making less than 300 watts. So this panel and these 3 all in total less than 300 watts. So when we have these cloudy conditions, the Andy's Garage system is fine. It covers all my needs, no problem. I only need this when the sun is shining. So the conditions these 4 panels need to work in are very specific. But if we have these conditions, so winter in full sun, they need to be working as optimal as possible. Because then these 4 panels making more energy than my whole Andy's Garage system there. And if you have a cloudy day like today, this system shines, this one not so much. Sun is coming out, this system is powering up, Andy's Garage system is powering down. So it's a win-win situation then. Regardless what weather I have, either of the system generates my power. And this is the second reason, next to the inverter overpaneling situation problem, potential problem, I don't want to lie these panels here flat on the roof, because the efficiency and power output in wintertime would be very bad. And I don't need these panels in any other season, as I said at the beginning. Spring, summer, autumn, I don't need these. I don't need the power output of these. It is additional power output if the weather gets really bad. I probably appreciate I have them here installed as well. But no, winter and pure sun, this is their main task. Then they need to shine. So I hope this additional and very detailed explanation now makes it very clear what the purpose of this installation here is. And as much as I would like to install these 4 panels here on the house roof as well and connect them to our battery system for this specific winter purpose, because we are talking about 4.1 kilowatt then all in total, the electrician has given me only a 10 amp access at the pool system there to connect the other inverter. The cabling would not be able to handle a 4 kilowatt system there. Okay, let me show you quickly the data from the last couple of days since we installed this system on the roof. The system, well, it's only one panel, right? So we have installed this one panel on the roof on last weekend. Monday I was at work, so I couldn't really see what's going on here, but we had a pure sunshine day. Our single panel on the roof is PV2. So number 1, 3 and 4 are the remaining ones in the solar farm. Number 2 is on the house roof. And we can see early in the morning, 9:38, we already have 150 watt from this one panel, while the other ones are still in full shading, 30 watts only. I've taken some screenshots at different times during the day, and I just quickly go through it, right? So 11 o'clock, we have full sun on the house roof, 318 watts, while the other 3 panels are still in full shading, not much coming there. 12 o'clock, the tide is now turning. We can see panel 1 from the solar farm, 413, full sun, house roof 370. The other 2 panels are still a bit in shading, so 160 watts, it's just coming up, 40 watts, still shaded. 1 p.m. solar farm, full power output, over 420 watts. House roof, PV2, 365. 2 o'clock, here gets interesting. Solar farm in full swing, but our house roof, 75 watts only. This is the shading which crosses the house roof from this one tree here, which I could already see on the big solar system on the house. It's every afternoon for half an hour, there's a bit of shading coming across the whole roof. So here there's no advantage to have this one panel on the house roof, but because the other ones are far better in power output. 3 o'clock, tide is turning again. The solar farm 1, 3 and 4 are in shading already again, while the house roof is still getting 270 watts. The shading of the tree has now moved on. 5:30, we can see the power goes slowly down, 220 watts still. Solar farm, nothing. And then 4:30, this is basically 40 minutes before sunset. The sun is then just peeking over the top of the house onto this one panel, 85 watts still, while the other ones are at around 10 watts. Yeah, and then 20 minutes before sunset, everything is in shading, and even PV2 on the house roof, 8 watts. So that was it for the day. And let me just go back to the peak power output here at, say, 1 o'clock. So you can see the 3 remaining panels in the solar farm are having a far higher power output than the one on the roof. And this is purely because of the angle the panels have towards the sun. The house roof, 30 degrees, while the solar farm panels have a much steeper angle. And this is exactly what we have determined with our SPAT method. You know, the can on the solar, and then figure out what the best orientation is, the least amount of shading from the beer can. And while these ones are pretty much optimized in their angle at this point of time, the one on the roof isn't, because it's too flat. So this 30-degree tilt bracket I have at the back is not enough. I cannot see more than 370, 380 watts coming from this panel at any point of time. And as we have seen in the previous video, when I lift this panel up towards the sun, the power output doubles. So this is one take I get from this system now, 3 panels in the solar farm on the ground with a better angle, and this one on the roof of the house with a more shallow angle. So what does it mean looking at a full day? What is the yield? What is the maximum power generation? How much energy has this module produced in comparison to where it was before and in comparison to all the other panels? So here's the solar yield of panel number 2 before we installed it on top of the house. 1.2 kilowatt in full sun. There was a bit of clouding here on these days, 1.1 kilowatt hours. This was the weekend when we installed it on top of the house. And then the next day when I was at work, 1.9 kilowatt hours. So basically 1.2 in the solar farm and 1.9 on top of the house. With this more shallow angle and only 380 watts of power output maximum. We had a shading day the next day, but then again 1.9 kilowatt hours, again sunny day. So our energy production, our yield per day increases by 60% almost. Even the panel output is lower than it was before because of the more shallow angle. 60% more energy production. That is good. That is quite a lot. And now imagine we tilt this panel on top of the house optimally towards the sun. And then times 4. Here we can actually see the weather as well. There's the weather shown, sunny, sunny, sunny. This is for all 4 panels now together. This is when they were all in the solar farm still. So 4.7, 4.7, 4.7, 4.8, 4.6, 4.6. And then the next day it was installed on the roof. Bang, 5.6, right? This is with 1 panel on the house and 3 still in the solar farm. Next day a bit of cloud, and then full sun again, 5.5 kilowatt hours. So here again we are generating 413 watts at the moment with the solar farm and the 1 panel on the roof, while I'm making 1.8, almost 2 kilowatt here from Andy's garage. And this is in these very cloudy conditions here. So all these panels here generate me enough energy now. I don't really need these ones, but you know, 400 watts on top of that, I'll take it. And if now the sun would come out, the panels here on the roof will drop in solar production, while the panels in the solar farm behind the pool and the one on the house will then shine. So as I said, it's a win-win situation then. Regardless what weather I have, I always produce enough energy then. Okay, so far the data which I have collected so far since the installation. And well, the question is where to go from here. So as we have just learned and already knew, the angle matters. The angle of your solar panel matters a lot, especially in wintertime when you need to optimize your solar production. So these ones are in a far steeper angle than this one on the roof, which is more shallow. This is probably like 30 degrees and this one is like, well, I've got this app running here on my mobile phone. It's from a company in Singapore called PVBuddy. So they contacted me a while back and wanted me to promote their app. The compass in my mobile phone may not be calibrated enough, but the most important stuff is here the angle, which is 48 degrees for these panels. Then let's put the mobile phone here on this panel. Yeah, this is 18 degrees only, 18 degrees. Look at this. Yeah, this would be 0. Yeah, 18 degrees. So 18 to 48. That makes all the difference. 450 watt solar output, while this one has only 370, 380. So the app uses the internal sensors of your mobile phone to determine the angle, the tilt and the GPS location and all this kind of stuff, orientation with the compass and stuff. You then get all this information and put them in a website and can calculate your solar yield, your expected solar yield. And I was asking them, well, why is the app not doing this automatically? You know, if you have all the details anyway in the app, all the data, why not go this extra step and let the user input their solar panel details and then display the expected yield per day. And the newest app uses actually the light sensor of your phone to determine the luminance or the sun power. So they're still developing this app, but eventually it will get there, I think. So if you're interested and want to try it yourself, I link all the information and the app itself under the video here. So I'm not sure if all the clouds are going away now, but we will have a full sunny day tomorrow again. It's winter. They're expecting even 28 degrees on Sunday. Isn't that crazy? Okay, it looks like the clouds are going away. I'm not sure. I'll probably wait until tomorrow, until we got full sun, and then we do a bit of an angle test and see what we can find. So I probably have to calibrate a new spat tonight for this test tomorrow. And there was one comment under the last video which got me actually thinking. If I can find it, I'll put it here on the screen. But it basically said, well, Andy, you can bolt down your solar system, your tilt system, as many times into your roof as you want. But in a big storm, you may either lose only your solar panels or your whole roof. And it took me a while to think about this and said, well, this is actually true, because we have now used 5 screws here to bolt our tilt system into the roof structure. But I don't know how much wind load this roof structure, how much force it can actually withstand, because this roof structure is not made for putting solar panels on, which have a huge wind load now in this direction here, in this angle. And I'm by no means a building certified, a building engineer. I haven't built this roof here, but I can tell you it was definitely not designed to withstand such a force. So, and what this person means is actually, if we have a big storm now, it could actually rip off my whole roof now. Because these solar panels, the tilt kit and the roof is all one structure now. Well, if we use only one screw, it only lifts up your solar panels and destroys them, but at least you're keeping your house roof. And this was the exact moment where I said, well, this person is absolutely 100% right. What I'm doing here is not good. This one here is totally fine. There will be almost no wind load going underneath and lifting up these panels here. While these ones here, or even a steeper angle, it's not good. And I lifted one of the collarbond roofs up here and had a look at the structure underneath, and it is like a U-shape sink profile where the roof is mounted on, but I don't know how this profile is actually mounted to the house then. I don't know, and there's no way to find out or do any calculations. This is all pure speculation what we are doing here. From a pure safety perspective, this is probably a bad idea. So back to the question, where to go from here? Well, we go in the garden, right? Because I need this panel here for demonstration purposes. Come on. And then some people suggested, well, Andy, make this tilt system adjustable on your roof so you can actually adjust the angle either towards the sun, or in case of the storm you lie it flat on the roof, and then you don't have any problems with any wind forces. And this got me thinking. These brackets here as a demonstration. So if we bolt these ones down here to our roof, right? It's just a hinge. And in case of a storm, we put the panel flat and there's no wind force, no wind load at all. And then after the storm is gone, I'll put them back into the optimal angle towards the sun, and we have maximum output in winter time. And this could be either a manual adjustment of the tilt system or an automated system with a linear actuator. And I've seen quite a few videos where people have done this on their RVs, and they're using these remotes with the radio signal to lift up the panels then. And they're using 2 or 3 of these actuators in parallel to lift up 2 or 3 panels. And I thought, what is happening if one of the actuators is not working and the other 2 are still pushing? Well, you potentially destroy your panels because they are quite powerful. And even the small ones, they can already push 1 kilonewton. And if you have 2 of them left and right of your panel and one is not working and the other one keeps pushing, that's not good for the panel. So I thought, well, to overcome this, we use only 1 actuator per panel. So 4 panels in a row, bang, 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 bang. And then each of them has their linear actuator. Okay, let's pretend this is our big panel on the roof. Yeah, these are 2 panels now stitched together, so they have actually a cross beam here. We don't have this on the roof at all. So 1 actuator sitting in the middle here and pushing the panel up and down needs to be mounted somewhere. So I need to have some sort of cross beam, like a metal square profile, for example, which supports the panel on the right and on the left, and then has the actuator connected here in the middle, and then lifts it up and down like this. Yeah, and I want the actuator to be under the panel if it's flat. I don't want to have it sticking out here at the end. It should be under the panel, away from elements, sun, water, whatever stuff. So we don't need actually any tilt system. We just need hinges at the front, bolted to the roof, and the actuator bolted to the roof, and that's it. And then you get these little wind sensors as well, and you can lower the panel if the wind gets too high, for example, fully automatically. Or you can connect this to Home Assistant or Node-RED or any other system then, and just lower the panel when the storm is coming, for example. Then when the wind force gets too high, it lowers the panel's angle. But usually if the storm comes, we don't have full sun, so the panel's maybe not in an upright position anyway. So the requirements are 1 actuator per panel. The actuator should be under the panel if it's in the flat position. Yeah, and then some hinges at the front and the actuator under the panel, which can then tilt it up and down. So I'm not quite sure how to do the mechanic at the moment there. Well, and I guess this is where the community comes into play now. So I simply ask you for a solution then. So if you have any ideas, do a quick drawing and send this to this email address here. just to get me on the right track here, and we can start building this automated, well, it's basically a single axis tracker. But in this case, I really don't need to track the sun. I just want to lift up the panel and then lay it flat in case of a storm. So these are requirements. If you have any ideas, send a quick drawing with an explanation to this email address here. I'll have a look, and I'm sure we can figure something out and build an awesome, amazing winter solar system on top of the house for our battery here in the battery shelf and for the Powerwall 2. Why is it beeping there? Okay guys, so far my crazy thoughts about this whole situation, all the data I have gained so far since we installed this one panel there. We will do a full angle orientation measure series tomorrow when the sun is out for full, because now we've got cloud and sun coming. It's not very consistent and really bad for making some measurements. So this will come in the next video. And I also want to do more work on the Frankenstein battery. The proposed BMS I wanted to actually test with the Frankenstein battery will not go ahead at the moment. There are some technical issues and the manufacturer is not that willing at the moment to help. I'll probably tell you more about this in a video coming soon. Alright guys, as always, thank you so much for watching. Thanks for all your amazing support here on the channel. Thank you very much to all the beer donors to help me calibrate a spat here, because we will need it in the next video. And you stay charged, stay safe, and thanks again for watching. See you then. Bye bye. What is this beeping? It's the servo. Servo beeps. One of my tests. Alright, see you in the next one. Bye bye. Whew, there was a lot of talking and less doing. But as you can see, there's a lot of consideration which we need to take into account in terms of angle and brackets and roof structures and wind load and all this kind of stuff. And I really don't want to build this system here and then in half a year's time it rips off my roof, you know. So I think this automatic single axis tracker situation with a linear actuator could be actually a perfect solution for that. So send me your ideas and your drawings and I will have a look. Thanks.